like 20 years ago. If I'm being 100.
You ain't going back watching the games, Lord.
If I'm being honest, bro, I don't think anybody in this generation could have played like 20 years ago. If I'm being 100, and this is to everybody in our league, Tatum, all y'all. Let me tell y'all something, bro. 20 years ago, bro, you couldn't get to a triple step back.
No.
You hear what I'm saying to you? You couldn't get to a triple step back, and then if you shot that shit, it had to go in. You know why? Because we had efficiency back in the day, my dude, and it was so fucking hard. It was too physical. And guess what? The league had to come off of it for the flow of movement to be able to have scoring go up, which is why we like to sit here and watch kind of the rat race of the high-paced game, right? But, bro, let's not talk about the gamemanship, and let's not talk about the physicality of the game back then. Real shit, because I only think half these kids in the league could have been on an NBA team 20 years ago.
Straight up.
The locker room was too grown.
You know what I watched too? You know what I watched?
It was too grown. It was two of them. It was too much of a fraternity. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man.
Just
like
the hand check.
No, bro. It was a different vibration. David Stern did a great job of taking all of the physicality out of the game. You understand? Freedom of movement means freedom of movement. Man, back in the day when you had to get by Paul, because Paul was squared up with you and ready to slide, and then he could body you, he could poke, he could use his hands, but I can use my hands.
I could fight through a screen.
Bro, the shit that we saw in the Olympics was similar style play when the guard could ride you damn near over the pick.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to get out of that, and a nigga like Holiday, when he come out and he get over, he there. Right. So if you go to cross him, bro, you don't even, that's what I'm saying, bro. Man, the levels in which you had to be not only strong enough, but skilled enough to get by this nigga in front of you. You understand? And then they ain't never seen a 6'7" Rodman guard you. Bro, I see you.
Yeah. Big J TV, man. Big J sick. Like, comment, subscribe, man. We gonna get over this sore throat. Appreciate y'all for tapping in, man. I appreciate, of course, the big ticket, man. The big ticket was spitting facts. I might even put in a video of Magic talking about it.
Anthony Edwards just said the other day that there really wasn't any skilled players in the NBA back in the day outside of Michael Jordan. That's what he said. Your response to that, Irvin Magic Johnson?
Well, you know, I don't never respond to a guy that's never won a championship. There's not nothing to really say. He didn't win a college championship. I don't know if he even won a high school championship.
But the legends are talking, bro. Right? And we gotta give them that respect. The legends are talking. The fact remains is, what Anthony Edwards said, bro, was incredibly stupid and ignorant. Right? Bro should have stopped at saying, I haven't seen 90s basketball. That's where the answer ends. Right? Because once he kept on talking, he exposed his foolishness saying that only Jordan had skill in the 90s, man. It is so... Let me tell you this, man. I'm not 23, older than that. But I wasn't there to really fully watch the 90s. I was born in the 90s, mid-90s, but I wasn't there to really watch basketball. I was too young to even understand it. But even back then, I have an internet connection, and I can go watch highlights and understand that guys like Hakeem Olajuwon, the Dream, with his incredible post moves. That's a skill. You know what I mean? You got to see a guy like Dennis Rodman getting all those rebounds. Rebounding, it might surprise y'all, that's a skill. Getting blocks consistently, that's a skill. Like guys like Charles Barkley, who would dominate the post. Something that you don't see in this modern NBA. And that's why a lot of old school NBA players, you might say they're salty, or they're hating, or they disrespectful. I mean, I get it. I get it because the disrespect is also coming from the youngins too. See, when you had, there was a version of this that happened a few years ago. When you had J.J. Redick go on first take and say basketball players back in the past was full of janitors and plumbers. That's the overall attitude, I believe, of modern NBA players. And this was just at a time where JJ had just retired, maybe about a year, maybe less. Had been playing for the Pelicans. And he was playing with one of the most skilled guys, possible, called Zion Williamson. But then you could see a guy like Zion. Could you imagine Zion playing in the 90s? He would get absolutely destroyed. Absolutely destroyed. You know what I mean? Zion couldn't see Shaq in the post. Zion couldn't see, Karl Malone. Zion couldn't see, Tim Duncan. Zion could not see Shaquille O'Neal. Of course, Zion is athletic as hell. You know what I mean? Has some ball skills. But what we're talking about is an era where it was way more physical, way more slower pace, and you couldn't just dribble, go for a layup and shoot threes. You had to have even a mid-range. You had to have a bag that was full. You didn't have to just do one thing. Of course, there were players who were specialists, but even the specialists had more than one thing. You had a guy, right, like Larry Bird. Larry Bird was one of the best three-point shooters in his era in the 80s, but Larry Bird was nice at assists. Larry Bird could play defense. Larry Bird could actually put up nice layup packages. Larry Bird was a complete basketball player. And don't get me started about Magic, standing at 6'9", maybe 6'10", having handles of a 6-foot point guard, and having the court vision of the greatest point guard of all time. See, what's happened in this era is a lot of the young players are not showing their respect or showing appreciation to the OGs of the game. All right? I slightly blame social media, and I blame also the sports take culture. So we're going back to guys like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless, man. I'm not saying Skip Bayless or Stephen A. specifically disrespect the OGs, right? Or the older players or the pioneers of the game. They don't. They actually don't. It's just that we've gotten in such an era of, talking bad about players even though we don't know the full information. It's just that person was trash. That person was horrible. That person's garbage. Completely disrespecting guys who came before us, right? Now, obviously, I'm not going to be a fool. Modern NBA players have a lot of skills for the most part. And I think because of the three, because everybody jacks up threes, and if you look up stats, it's not like they're jacking up better threes or better shots. They're just doing it more often than before. People think that there's more skill now. Of course, shooting threes is a skill, but just because you do it a lot doesn't mean you're great at it. Ray Allen, one of the best three-point shooters, man, of all time. Right? And the reason Ray Allen was so good is because he was very efficient with it. He wasn't jacking up like 70 million threes and having a horrible-looking basketball game. If you look at 90s basketball compared it to basketball that we watch right now, it's night and day, man. It is such an ugly game these days, especially when you see a lot of players bricking shots. It can get exciting when the shots are falling down, but you can decide, literally a game can be decided in modern NBA by the second quarter. If one team is getting their shots in, their threes in, it's over. It's done. You don't have to watch the third or fourth quarter. You can shut the ish off. But when you're looking at 90s basketball, you had so many different types of stars and players that it was fun to watch. And that's something that was missing from a lot of modern NBA. The physicality, you know what I mean? The different types of players. You didn't have copies of each other, bro. And Anthony Edwards looks incredibly dumb for saying this. So shout out to the big ticket, Kevin Garnett, for speaking up. And I feel like KG could have went off harder, but because he has a relationship with Ant, he didn't go off. Let me know how y'all feel about it, man. Y'all agree with KG and Paul Pierce, or y'all on Ant's side, man? Big J TV, man. We getting off this sickness, son. I'm out, bro.